Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about a different type of storages in your Docker. Now, do remember that this is a different section completely altogether, which talks about all the storage options. And then we have hands-on or exercise section as well, where you will be exercising. As this is going to be an understanding architecture, first we will understand about the ephemeral storage. In Docker, ephemeral storage refers to as a temporary storage that is tied to the life cycle of a container. The storage is a non-persistent, meaning that any data which is written during the execution of the container is lost when the container is stopped or is removed. It contrasts with the persistent storage which survives the container's life cycles. I can tell you one of the example here. Suppose you are running a Docker container which is actually hosting a web server. When a container starts, it might generate temporary log files, cache directory, and other transit information during that particular container's operation. The data is stored in the container's ephemeral storage. Now, any files or data created on the Nginx server, for example, that's our web server which you're using, inside the containers like log, temporary files, are stored in the ephemeral storage that is part of your container. If you stop or remove the container, you will see that the storage which is attached as part of your container is deleted along with it. Any changes made inside the container which are stored in the ephemeral storage are lost. On the other hand, when you talk about the persistent container, you would likely use ephemeral storage on that part as well. But then it's not possible to mount multiple file system using the persistent storage. So what we normally do is like we will give important folders, like for example, your HTML files, your or your EAR files in terms of application server, or if it's a data partition in terms of your database server, we will expose that level of a partition into your Docker as a persistent store. Once we expose that particular partition, now this partition where we are exposing it from is from your host operating system. In this example, or in this particular training, we will be using vas-host1 as a host operating system which will be having your Docker engine installed. Now do remember the Docker C or the Docker engine is going to be actually hosting all the Docker images within itself. So every time you create a Docker image without specifying -v as in volume or -mount in terms of mounting definitions, this Docker image you're going to run or going to create, right? So that will be actually using the ephemeral storage. If you use the option -v or -mount, which we will discuss later, then that particular partition or the way you're deploying it, like for example, there are two different type of persistent storage, bind and volume. So it depends on which item you're gonna specify. Your mounting on that Docker image, that particular partition will change to the one on the host operating system. Now it could be a location, or it could be a Docker area, which is basically volume. So we will talk about this in detail on the next video, but then do remember that the changes or the mounting which you're going to do in terms of the persistent storage from the host operating system will be a read and write by default. So which means that this particular /app from your host can be accessed in your /app as in your Docker image as well. The content in this app can be read, and also it can be written, as in towards it can be deleted as well. So a changes which happens in your Docker image on this app folder will actually reflect over here. And this is the option by default where you don't have to really specify read and write in any area as such in terms of mounting this image into your Docker image. Now, when you give -v and then you give the source and destination, this is going to be read and write. So you have to be very careful in terms of accessing this image or accessing any kind of a critical data in this location. So it is always recommended to do a read-only mode most of the time when you're mounting these images, because there's no requirement for you to write any images from your these Docker images, because Docker images can be deleted anytime, and we don't really require that. So thank you again for watching this video. I hope that you understood the different type of storages which is available on your Docker image. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.